Hello, and welcome to the second of 4 sessions of Urban Shadows, a PBTA game from Magpie Games. And we're doing a Dresdenfiles skin with this. Our game is set in Denver, Colorado, and I'll come back to some of the implications of that contemporary with Denver today. But if you're watching this is part of the Gauntlet Hangouts. It's an online gaming community that has a blog, it has a zine, it has multiple podcasts, it has a huge online calendar of games for people who are on the Patreon and anybody else. Games are open for general access after a week. And if you're curious about that, go to gauntlet-rpg.com and take a look. There's some really easy tools there to kind of sort and see what kind of open sessions that we have available. So take a look at that. I don't know if anyone has seen, and we're going to roll this into today's description. Denver got hit with a blizzard this weekend. It was originally projected to be 2 feet worth of snow. It has not been 2 feet worth of snow. It's about 6 inches plus, with a thunderstorm mixed in with it. So imagine that where we're going to be starting, that is looming on the horizon right now. People are starting to panic. And if you live in an area with snow, and then you know what happens when there's a blizzard warning is people are running for the grocery stores. Panic and fear. It's very delicious to our vampire on the table. So we'll come back to that. Let's follow up on a rules question that Alan had that I think we'll play in. Last time we had 2 of our characters trigger an intimacy move. That means that they get to mark each other's faction. And so Nathanda, you're going to mark Wild. And then you need to tell Alan whether he should mark mortality or power, because you've got that special move for that. Which do you think that was more applicable to in that scene?
I think that was the more human side of Nathanda. There wasn't any oracular type activity or anything going on there. I think it was more of just a straight up comforting each other, kind of decompressing.
Yeah, that seems
everything.
Fair. Okay. So mark mortality. And one of the things that's interesting, Blake sent me a note and had a question about this, and I want to mention this because this is an experience I've had in running Urban Shadows at the table and Urban Shadows online. One of the things is debt moves are very cool, but they really require a little bit of player proactivity to recognize that when you're doing something for somebody, maybe that's the point at which you want to call in a debt, or if you want to pressure them to get them to do stuff, calling in, cashing in those debts are ways to change up move values. They're ways to get things done. And if you do, something for somebody at the end of session, of course, you can gain those debts. So I'll try to keep an eye out for points at which I go, hey, are you using your debt? But it does require you as players to kind of look into that. I find that is the segment of the game that most often gets forgotten in the heat of play, especially if we're kind of just playing along and doing the talking. It is a rules mechanic that requires kind of pausing and going, are we going to activate this? So that's just out there on the table to consider. I do a modified version of the standard Urban Shadows start a session move. I'm going to have one person do the pick move and then mark, and then everybody else is going to get to mark one of their faction boxes. So today I want to start with Dr. Karen. Dr. Karen, I have a question for you.
Okay.
Of your fellow characters, your allies, I'll use my air quotes, which one do you trust the least?
I think at this moment, I trust YOLO the least.
Okay.
like I have a lot of hesitations about Narelle, but we are work colleagues, so we have a bit of an understanding. I feel like Narelle probably trusts me the least, but
okay,
I trust her fairly well.
So Iolo, looking at Dr. Karen's two factions, she has mortality and night unmarked currently. Which of those two do you want to have her mark?
I've not seen much morality, let alone mortality. So I think Mark Knight.
Okay. All right. And so Iolo, Narelle, Nathanda, you all get to freely choose one of your unmarked factions and mark it. So a little step forward on the advancement thing. So you can strategically consider who you think you might not be contacting. That is the sort of the game choice there. And Nathanda, you already have your wild mark, so either power or mortality. Now let's come to that start of session question then. Dr. Karen, we've got that faction spotlighted. It is mortality. Tell me about a rumor or conflict that you've heard about in mortality, in the mortal realms. It can be built off of something we've already established or something new. So tell me something.
Okay. We have so few of our own representatives of mortality that it gets a little like give me a moment.
Sure, absolutely. Yola, which one did you decide to mark then for that?
For Dr. Karen.
No, for yourself of the free choice.
Oh, sorry. I beg your pardon. I opted to mark Knight.
Okay. And Narelle, which one did you mark?
Mortality, because
Okay.
I'm hanging around with all these weirdo supernaturals.
That makes sense. And
Yeah.
Nathanda?
I marked power.
Okay.
Yeah, I think that the anxiety that has already been kind of stacking up in this city, like I think that there's been a degree of mistrust amongst mortality, like not even taking into account the supernatural, and whether that's politically based in the United States or what have you. It's ramping up, especially with this oncoming storm.
And what is the manifestation of that locally that you might have gotten mixed up in? Because what we're going to do is we're going to be rolling and seeing, how you're connected with some specific instance of that.
Mm.
I mean, so let's look at mortality. So we've got scholars, we've got hunters, we've got veterans, and we've got the people who are at the fringes of this thing. And also I'll mention, until this went down at the bar, you assumed that Rory was kind of just a mortal who maybe wasn't aware, who maybe knew a little bit more. You had no idea the depth.
Yeah, and I think that as far as what I want to interact with,
Mm-hmm.
like I feel like my first steps were to go through my notes and check on her emergency contacts, because these are going to be people that are going to maybe have a bit more insight into what was actually going on with her. Go ahead.
Yeah, so maybe you find out that there are some people on the mortality side that also might have been friends or looking into or caretaking for Rory.
Yeah, and I think that one thing that's starting to happen, because we have all these new factions that are coming into the city and becoming more active, which I'm partially responsible for, there's that kind of pot boiling over I think that more people are becoming aware than had been in the past.
Okay.
That's amping up fear, which is tasty for me, but there's that danger of us kind of breaking the mask.
All right. Well, let's have you roll with mortality.
Okay. Mortality, I think I have a +1. Do you have the roll for your party again?
Yeah, let me
the last time
grab that. It is locally inviting Whippet.
Okay, I got a 7 on the die. +1 is an 8.
Okay. So on a 7 to 9, you're neck deep in it. You owe someone in that faction a debt, and someone in that faction owes a debt to you. So, who amongst mortality that might have some knowledge about this? Do you owe a debt to?
And I think that I've basically, by the events of last night, have created a new debt to her roommate.
Okay. So we're going to call her roommate Susan Farzin.
Okay.
And, you owe her. She's someone who might have been a little bit of aware and someone who, directed Rory to you. Got some assurances that you could help her.
Yeah, I think that she may have been one of my students.
Okay.
Where Rory was not. And felt that what she was learning in my class was valuable enough that she was like, oh, we have, amongst the professors, Dr. Karen's really fantastic. If you're having issues with these things, you should go see her.
And then related to this whole situation, who is a person among mortality who you owe a debt to?
No, sorry. No, that was who I owe a debt to. I apologize.
Oh, I'm sorry. Who owes a debt to you? I apologize. The other way around.
Yeah. I know I keep on going back to the college, and I think that sometimes that's good and sometimes that's narrowing things too much. That's kind of where she operates out of. I think the dean of the department owes a debt to me.
And why and how is that related to this situation?
That's related to this situation because he does match the scholar archetype. So he's been hoarding magical artifacts, and I've been helping keep that on the down low.
And how does that relate to this Rory situation?
Is it possible Rory was affected by one of the artifacts because she came in contact with them? That triggered the emergence of the powers and stuff.
Yeah, I like that.
Yeah, her power was triggered by an object,
So there's some sense, at least, this may not be an explicit thing for you right now, that this, let's give this male or female for the department?
Male.
Okay. We will call him, I don't know, I've got my little list of names there. Where is, let me find a good one for there. Wendell Windows. And Windows, you know that he has some knowledge about the cult, things like that. And while he wasn't necessarily the person that got Rory the artifact, he maybe knew something, maybe had some connections, and had heard about her maybe coming into contact with something.
Yeah, let me throw a wrench into it as a thought.
Sure.
Yeah, what if the artifact was something that Rory had to tamp down her powers?
Well, I know what the artifact is, so
Okay.
I'm actually gonna hold on that particular
thing.
plot point. That is on my storms thing. So I will hold on that if you don't mind. But yeah, there's some connection there. This guy knows about it. It is sort of in the cards there. And we'll roll on to that in a second. The other thing I want to mention, just to remind everybody, X card is on the table. That's our safety tool of choice. Just to keep that in mind. So what I want to do is to kind of people are in different places. I want to do a once around to check in where everybody's at, what they're thinking, what they might be working on, individual. Do that circle around once, and then we will come and look at if people want to start pulling people together. And you can do that in the once around, but that's sort of my general structure is to do a check-in with everybody there. Also, mechanically, is everybody happy with the moves that they've chosen? Anybody want to swap anything around? Okay, that's still in the air. And I don't think anybody got an advance yet, did they?
Unless my rolling with mortality just now filled it.
Well, yeah, because that's what they had you mark mortality.
I mean, I haven't marked it yet, but you just had me.
Is that what Iolo had you mark?
No, Yola had me mark knight.
Oh, then we did the wrong faction there.
Oh.
Yola, are you okay if we swap that?
Yeah, not a problem.
Okay, so why don't you swap that knight mark for mortality mark, Dr. Karen? Okay. I got super confused. And it's so early in the session that really bodes well.
No, that's just my aptitude with game rules just spreading out through the rest of the table.
Well, I'll let that roll. I'm good with that. Nathanda, you have a start of session move, so we're actually going to start with you, have you do your start of session move, and then I'm going to find out where you are at.
All right. So
also clearing stuff. If you have just the level 1 of harm, you can clear that. And Dr. Karen, I think you can clear with the rest that grievous you can clear.
Okay.
Okay, and we have the intimacy move too for Yolo and Nathanda as well.
Yeah, you I think you rolled that you took care of that last time, right?
Oh, did we?
Yeah, you did all the questions and trade back and forth.
Boy, I totally forgot. Okay, well then I will attempt to gaze into the future here.
Yeah. Roll with spirit.
All right, that's a 9. What's my spirit? I can't bring anything up on this character sheet today.
Oh, is it having trouble loading?
Yeah, it's got so much stuff on it. It's too big for my slow bandwidth.
Okay, his spirit's 2.
So that's going to give you a 10 plus. 11. So you're going to hold 2. During the session, you can spend your hold to declare that something terrible is about to happen.
Okay.
I am going to hide a couple of these tabs that we don't necessarily need. We'll leave that up. Well, I'll hide one of them. Yeah, it is a big sheet. And it gets wonky. So I actually had city maps in there. I took those out because they made it a grinding to a halt. So Nathanda, tell me, where do you think you're at? We're on the next day. I assume that Iolo has left by that point.
Yeah, and I think so. The beginning of session, looking into the future, you see Nathanda's, at the little dining table in her studio apartment above the shop, and she's got a spread of tarot cards out, and all the tarot cards are handmade, where she's drawn everything onto them because she's a tattoo artist. And there doesn't seem to be any theme other than the fact that she drew them. So that's the spread she had where she got the vision. And then I think when we come back to her a bit later, she's in the shop and she's just getting call after call from people canceling because the storm's coming. And she's finally like, screw it. And she goes walking down the street to the nearest bar and grill to get some lunch and have a nice local craft beer.
Yeah, and probably getting that first little bit and flake of snow that is hitting there, and you go to sit down to have that craft beer, and as you're sitting there, eating, relaxing. Are you at the bar or are you at a booth? Where are you?
I'm up at the rail.
Okay. This person slides in, sits down next to you, and you can see that your mug kind of get like a little sheen of frost. And this pretty good looking gentleman, longish hair kind of back, says, Nathanda, can I talk to you for just a second? I see you weren't at your shop.
You can talk to me. Not sure that I'll listen. I'll give it a shot here.
Says, look, you've helped out some of my friends in the past, assisted them with things, and a friend of a friend is always a good thing. My name's Gabriel.
What do you need, Gabriel?
I heard some really wild stuff, wild and crazy things about what went down last night over at the club. I just wondered if maybe you'd be willing to tell me what happened.
Oh, information's never free, Gabriel. What do you have to trade?
What I have to trade is that the Winter Court helps its friends.
So you'll owe me a favor, and that's a promise?
If you give me a clear understanding of what went on, I will promise to assist you in the future.
I don't like the phrasing of that, Gabriel. I have Fae friends, and I can't promise that you can have a clear understanding based on the information I share. But what I will commit to is telling you what I witnessed. Whether you can or can't interpret that, that's your problem, not my problem.
What you witnessed and what you suspect.
Fair. Can do that.
And it seems like what you witnessed is certainly, that seems more than fair to me, given your particular insight.
And so I'll go through everything that happened at the club, laying out, the chaos, the Parafay who are trying to grab Rory, the misdirection of people to wrong exits, not necessarily naming names of who directed things the wrong way, and then running into the Denari out back and how badly that encounter went. And that we know that there's some object out there that awakened these powers in Rory, and not sure how dangerous that is that's out there.
Seem to confirm some things for him. Do you mention that Rory was a patient of Dr. Karen?
Oh, might as well throw Dr. Karen under the bus. Sure.
Yeah, your name pops up quite a bit, doesn't it?
Well, I mean, everyone knows Dr. Karen, right? You know, you got some problems or whatever, that's who you see if you have special problems like some of us.
That's excellent. I really appreciate this, and I owe you a favor. Off the books, just for free, I will tell you, I would be very cautious around Dr. Karen. She's come in from the outside, and there are established rules and hierarchies that she's come and kicked in the teeth. So just be careful.
Okay.
Well, thank you very much. I will hopefully speak with you later. Let me give you my number so that you can get me on the cell.
Lovely. I pull out my phone and say, text me.
Okay. And he pulls out this like kid's SpongeBob SquarePants burner phone that he types his number in and sends it to you.
Yep. And you see my phone's a crappy Android that's got a cracked screen where trying to do the touch stuff on it's really hard.
Yeah. Hit a couple of times to get to go. That sounds great. I'm going to cut away from you and talk to Narelle. Narelle.
Okay. I was going to call Nathander actually, and John, so I've got a landline which is a bit dodgy, and I'll call her mobile and say, where are you? I want to meet up because Storm doesn't bother me.
So this is just after your new friend Gabriel has headed out. Your phone. Do you? I assume you have just the most default ringtones on that phone, Nathander, right?
Actually, I spent about $6 for 6 different ringtones. And so it's like Twilight Zone theme is for incoming.
Oh, I hope each of us gets one.
Oh yeah, absolutely. So yeah, you'll hear that as Narelle calls you.
Narelle, what's up?
Hey, I was just looking for you. I wanted to, buy you dinner and get some of your services if possible.
Well, I'm not. Where are you right now? I'm just a block and a half down here from my shop, sitting at Bunny's.
Okay, I can get a cab or something. It should be about 15 minutes.
All right, I'll go ahead and get a booth for us.
Yeah, if you want to order, and I'll pay for it when I rock up. That's fine.
Okay. Do you want me to order something for you?
Yeah, go for it. I'll eat anything, so surprise me.
Okay, I'll try to surprise you.
All right. See you soon, sweetie. Let's go.
Nathander, what kind of place are you're going to go to eat?
Well, it's a bar and grill that I'm at, so I'm just going to take my beer and move over to a booth.
Okay.
And it's since I'm kind of in that boho district, so you can't just get a regular burger and fries. It's like truffle fries, and it's like grass-fed beef, and it's got homemade aiolis and stuff like that on it. So, it's grungy looking inside. It's got that hipster vibe.
Okay. Beautiful plating, and clearly the indie burger scene is in full effect here. Narelle, you'll arrive. You can tell that Nathanda's probably had at least a couple of beers by this point.
That's right.
So, are you dressed more formally, more casually, Narelle?
Well, it is cold, so I'd probably have the sort of winter coat on and some gloves. Just, it's good to see you, sweetie, and do the, fake kiss on the cheek and sit down. So, yeah, I need your help finding someone I met the other day. I don't know if they're going to be, well, I'm hoping they'll be important in my life, but I'm not sure. And they may be tied up with all these fae running around in the hills. And I, wanted to see if you could see something. You've ordered already, of course?
Yeah, I got you the Greek lamb burger.
Oh, that sounds good.
I got the falafel burger coming.
Okay, that's excellent. All right, and she, hands you 100 or whatever the standard fee is for all.
And I'll just take that and fold it up and put it in an inside pocket on my like jean jacket that I'm wearing. So what do you want precisely? What are you trying to find out here?
I'm trying to find where someone is and if they're going to be involved in what I'm up to, looking out for the fae. There are winter faes, and she starts describing Gabrielle, who you just met.
Okay, so Nathanda reaches into the other inside pocket on her denim coat and pulls out her deck and lays some cards out, but she's just laying them out. She's not doing a real reading. And she's like, so I guess that's a corruption move, technically, when you pretend to tell the future in art.
Absolutely.
I wonder if I can...
Yes, my initial plan was to go hiking, but with a storm coming in, I thought, oh, okay, plan B.
Yeah, I can scroll through the sheet, but I can't mark anything in the cells.
Okay. Well,
that puts me at 4.
Those, yeah.
So I can sense that Gabriel is very, very interested in what happened last night. I see him out on the streets asking questions, hard questions. He's so interested, he's willing to trade favors. I see debts being incurred. This doesn't look good for you, Narelle. I think all of the winter court is unsettled by what's happened.
Can you tell if he's like a powerful figure in the winter fae, or the reading sort of doesn't mention that? Or?
Well, you see the inverted hangman here. I think Gabriel has a lot of power, but I'm not certain that he's representing the court officially. This may be a lone wolf play on his part, jockeying for power.
Okay. All right, so I guess we'll say the food arrives and good, really good, excellent. All right, and she doesn't talk much while she's eating. She's just going to think about things, and you can tell she's sort of weighing stuff up in her mind.
He is really good looking, by the way.
Oh, you met him?
No, I saw him.
Oh, okay. So, okay. Yes, he is, and she sort of subconsciously fusses with her hair and her top, and yes, he was. All right.
And I'm just gonna pat Narelle's hand, and I want to skim the surface.
Okay. Then let's have you roll with spirit. And then I have a question about the overall move here in a second.
got no idea what this does, so I'm quite curious.
It's only a 6.
It's only a 6. So before that happens, let me ask this. Narelle, do you think that this was you calling in a debt to get her to do that? Does that seem like a debt move? Favor at a moderate cost? Answer honestly, both of those are call in debt things.
I mean, they have a regular meeting to sort of discuss things in the future, but emotionally, this was very important to her. She was going to not stop looking for her until she found her. So yes, emotionally, it does feel like.
So take the debts that Nathanda owes you, and you have 2 of them. So adjust that to 1. And Nathanda, you already have power marked, so you don't mark anything in that exchange. But you're in 2 factions, so which faction would Narelle mark as a result of this debt exchange?
I think that's power.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm power, so.
Okay. So Narelle, you will mark power.
Okay.
And after that kind of exchange, Nathanda puts her hand out, and as you do that, Narelle, you will realize that she is trying to read you. Like, it's really clear that she is trying to use her powers on you.
Let's just have a look. That's fine. I trust her. She's helped me many times in the past. As yet, she hasn't done anything. I mean, she's not a moral compass, obviously, but no, she's never done anything I thought's dodgy, so that's fine. Let her.
Nathanda, what's the worst thing that you've ever done?
Oh, wow. So back when Nathanda was in high school in Chicago, she used to run with a gang. And as part of a hazing initiation, they always would do the thing where they throw whoever the new member is on the ground and blanket party, essentially, and kick them. And she thinks she was the one who kicked the kid in the head and they lost their eye. And that's the thing, one of those things when you're laying in bed at night trying to go to sleep, and all of a sudden your conscience wakes up and you feel bad.
And I think what happens is Nathanda, you kind of reach out to touch, and then reflexively you look Narelle in the eye, which is kind of a mistake because she's a wizard. And I think rather than you reading from her, Narelle, you see that in your mind. And you see an echo of that guilt. You see an echo of that moment. And the 2 of you will both realize that moment of exchange.
All right,
I jerk my hand away.
I'll say, we've all made mistakes, dear. This meal is not one of them. This is delicious. Thank you.
I'm going to cut there. Iolo, what are you up to?
I want to go back to my apartment block because we have that bar in the basement, don't we? Which is run by the bar manager Danielle, who has an apartment above. And I want to have a conversation with Danielle about doing me a favor.
And she's like, I heard your gig didn't go well last night.
Well, you can never deal easily with heckling that turns into an all-out fire. But as far as it went, it will be a show that people remember.
Yeah. Yeah, no, that's certainly certainly on the news. If it hadn't been for the incoming blizzard, it might have been a little more front pagey.
Quite possibly so. But the reason I wanted a word is that I've got a friend who needs somewhere to stay for a couple of days, and I'm just wondering if you could help out, because you've always been badgering me about doing a set here. Well, as a quid pro quo, if you could just provide a bed for this friend of mine for a couple of days, then I'd agree to doing that set.
She goes, well, I might have an apartment upstairs that is supposed to have an occupant, but I'm using it as an Airbnb. So yeah, I can cancel a res and get somebody in there, as long as you promise they're not going to wreck the place.
Oh no, a very, very nice girl. Very nice girl.
Girl?
Yeah, just a friend. Absolutely, just a friend, Danielle.
Okay.
So can I bring her around, later this morning?
Sure. Let me, and she pulls out her phone, and you see her get into an app and cancel it. She goes, yeah. And she says, here's the code for the box.
That's really good of you. Thanks very much for that. And then I'd like to go and see Mrs. Griffiths, the chair of the Welsh Society. And I'm going to move Dr. M's true love from where she knows she is to somewhere else she doesn't know.
So what are you telling Griffiths? Because this is the mother of that young woman?
She's the mother of the young woman who... Oh, the young woman. I didn't think the young Griffiths, I didn't think she was the true love. I thought I'd stash Dr. M's true love with the family.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah.
And do we have a name for that person?
For the true love, no. Dr. Karen?
Oh, gosh. Yesterday, I was thinking through it, and now I've forgotten what I'd come up with. They're a wraith, though.
Miranda?
I like it. Yeah. Miranda Wraith.
So I will take Miranda to one side and say that Dr. M's asked me to move you into the city, deeper into the city.
And we take the shot. This is a place a little bit outside of the city. We've kind of got definitely in the background, big plate glass window. We can see the mountains and things like that. All kinds of, the green, white, and red of the Welsh flag with the griffin on it, and we've got all kinds of older decorations and things like that. And Mrs. Griffiths, a little more heavy set woman. Miranda, maybe still a little bit nervous around you, and she'll say, Does Karen know about this? Is she okay with this?
Absolutely, yes. She just asked. There's a. I'd like to have this conversation with her on her own, so I'll ask Mrs. Griffiths if I can have the room with her for a moment.
Sure.
The difficulty is that that Sian, Mrs. Griffiths' daughter, hasn't been terribly well, and I think Karen is a little bit concerned that there might be something contagious. It's not a great place for you to be, so she's arranged an apartment in town where I can keep an eye on you.
She says, "Oh, Charm hasn't seemed too bad in the past few days, but okay. I think that this is persuading an NPC.
Yeah, so do I. So that is with heart.
Yes.
Which is 1. Am I tricking her?
Well, that's the question: is are you trying to persuade her?
I think I'm trying to persuade. I think it's
Yeah.
a straightforward. So that is. Oh. Well, I'll mark experience then.
Except that if this were a system that had that, it would be awesome.
Oh, yes.
But in fact, yeah, that's a fail with no payoff for you. And she says, okay, yeah, absolutely. That seems like a good idea. Let's do that. And seems to buy into that.
And does she get as far as the car before she runs?
No. I think we cut, the camera kind of pans back, and we can kind of see through one of the doorways. We can see this sort of frail-looking young woman who we haven't seen on screen yet, but will identify as Charm. And
Sharn.
What's her name? Sharn. And we see her crossing her arms like this is exactly what she wanted. Like she has moved the pieces into place. She steps away, and you see her pull out her cell phone, but we don't see who she calls. Yeah, and definitely Miranda goes with you.
Fine, and I'll deliver her to the apartment.
Absolutely safe and sound.
Absolutely. Never have 2 girls so con de fe.
Yes. So let's come to Dr. Karen on that note. Dr. Karen, what are you up to?
Well, this is not going to improve how much everybody else trusts me, but
yeah,
my faction needs to know what's going on, as far as I understand it. And it's a dangerous path to take, but I think I need to go to our the local leader for House Scavis.
There are only a couple of them here. This is definitely, as we established, Malvora territory, right?
No, it's Scavis territory.
Oh, it's Scavis territory, and
yeah, I'm Malvora.
You're Malvora. I get that backwards.
And I do have a name and kind of a initial impression for this person.
Let's hear it.
So their name, it's Wilhelm Scavis. And to paraphrase the Big Lebowski, he can't hurt you, Danny. He's a nihilist. So he's a German full-on nihilist.
And again, Scavis's emotion of choice is
despair. Yeah.
So I imagine that we arrive at a place that very much looks Bauhaus. The only way it could seem more that way is if they were playing Kraftwerk over the PA system in here. And he has this beautiful outfit that's everything is sort of geometric angles. Even the buttons are square on it. And you're let in by him, and he says, Dr. Karen. He has a crop top with this sort of shaved sides on it, and his fingers are perfectly manicured. Everything is done for cleanness. Dr. Karen, it has been some time since you paid a call on your betters.
And I do feel that we may not have left that last interaction on the best of terms.
Well, I had hoped that it would be the best of terms, but I have heard some unsettling rumors.
Well, hopefully we can clear the air today.
That is all that we can hope for. So, why have you come?
I've come because I'm concerned that outside forces might be incurring on our mutual territory.
Outside forces, you mean like you?
Oh, even more outside. Outside of the representatives of Night.
Go on. I am listening.
It might have been pushed off of your radar slightly, but there was an incident last night and I'm trying to recall the name of the club.
I don't even think we gave a name to the club.
How did we not give a name to the club?
We're going to call it the Ice House.
Right. Things got very hot at the Ice House.
I see what you did there. Go on.
I would have preferred to be able to be more delicate, but I think that it's more practical just to put everything out in the open. I believe that we have Denarian influence encroaching. And I might have dug myself into something risky. And I show him the coin.
And he looks at it. He goes, "Did the Denarian give that to you?"
He intended it for another.
Mm-hmm. And you thought, you know what would be a very good idea is for me to take this thing.
Well, I thought that it'd be a very good thought to not have the Denarian be able to complete the plan that he intended. I had to make a split-second decision. I felt that the most dangerous thing would be to have those pieces moved where he intended.
That seems fair. That seems fair. Well, I think it was a very good idea of you to come and give it to me, to put it into my keeping.
I'm not sure that that's what I'm offering, but I did come to seek your advice. I feel like I'm not going to be able to leave with this coin.
Do you want to try and figure him out?
I do.
Okay. Why don't you roll with mind?
Okay. It's the exact same result, so... Oh, wait, no, I didn't do reroll. That's why.
I always hit submit. Okay. Yeah.
8 on the die. Mind, I have a +1. So that is a 9.
So you have 1 hold.
Yeah. And I'm just taking...
I know, you have 2 hold, and then he gets to ask you a question, is what it is.
Yeah, and I'm just trying to see... Yeah, I don't think I have anything where I can push that up to a 10.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Okay.
So what are your questions?
Okay.
Well, Wilhelm.
Yeah. Oh, I think he's been very explicit on what he's hoping to get from me.
Yeah. He reaches in. You see him pull out these jet black cigarettes.
Yeah.
Lights them up.
Yeah. Oh, because they're my faction, I actually get 3 questions now.
Hey, look at that. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Who's pulling his strings?
Oh, the Denarian.
Okay. Oh. Interesting. What does he worry might happen?
He's clearly a little worried that he's not going to get the coin away from you, that he's certainly been told to get the coin. and that is his intent here.
Okay. And
how could
there's some of them that I feel like I can infer the answers to already.
My question, and then I'll let you ask yours.
That sounds good.
How can I get you to leave that coin with me is his question to you.
Okay. Oh, I like just kind of playing into this. Say, Wilhelm, we're all friends here. We're all of the same extended family. But you've made things very hard indeed on my family. That doesn't have to continue. I don't want this. I just wanted to make sure that it didn't go where it was originally intended. Look, I'd say, can this be considered payment to let bygones be bygones and let me and the other Malvoras just have a safe place to do our business in this city? This is a bad deal.
He says, so long as your business does not involve the youth of House Scavis, then we will have no problem.
I would not hope to interfere with. I want both of our families to be able to live in, well, as close as to peace as our ilk can manage. We'll call it tolerance.
Fair enough. And what is your last question?
My last question. How could I put your character in my debt?
Probably handing back a couple of those House Scavis youths that you've been treating.
I think I'll go without debts for right now.
Okay. What? You didn't want to hand him over? Do you leave the coin? Are you going to leave the coin? Because that determines what happens next.
Yeah. Yeah, both are instigating new things, but I think I am going to I'm going to leave it with him.
He will push forward a little box and say, why don't you just drop that in there?
And I do, and gosh, I'm going to have to start getting help from the rest of the group. I know that I've done a bad thing, but I think we're getting a direction that we're taking this plot.
I think that is absolutely fair. So, boop, it is dropped. There's that clack as he shuts the lid and pulls it back over.
Yep. So I intended the start of this as a hit the streets. We basically just kind of skipped rolling for it.
Yeah, I think it's fair to say that we can you can mark night if you haven't got it already marked.
Okay, and that does give me an advance. Had I left with the coin, I was going to take a tainted move, but I did not. So,
all right. So I'm going to cut from you. Now let's look at maybe pulling some people together. If you still have other stuff you want to do individually, because that's how Urban Shadows works, that is still fair. Nathanda, where do you go from here?
I think Nathanda is going to go visit a friend of hers who is another oracle.
Okay.
Let's say that's Albert.
Albert. Okay.
And he actually does run a psychic reading studio with the whole shtick. And he does all the different things: I Ching, runes, crystal ball, the whole works, whatever the rubes want.
Okay. And is there's something you want from him? Are we doing hit the streets?
Yeah, basically hit the streets. I want to find out what he's been hearing from clientele, and if the questions and stuff being asked point any particular direction on what's going on with factions in the city and who's trying to maneuver to what.
Let's have you roll with power, and we'll see what kind of thing you can get here.
Let's see, that's an 11.
Okay, so Albert is there, and you can get into to see him, and he's like, Nasanda, it is so good to see you. Welcome to my offices.
And
it is rare that you would come and call on me, so very pleased. Though, of course, I saw it coming.
Of course you did, Albert. I just laugh, and I'm like, there's been some weird shit going on. I mean, weirder than usual going on. You've been smelling, seeing, hearing weird things?
Yes, very much so. There's winter is staying. I would say winter is coming, but that's
it's here.
A little cliched at this point. There's something in the air, something coming in, and there are forces arrayed, and what I have seen is that there is an object circulating that many people want.
And is there any chance that that might be a denarian coin, or is it something different? Do you have a feel for that?
I don't think anyone wants a denarian coin, but the denarians want to pass it around. Get it into various people's hands. That's how they operate. At least that's how the one who was here years ago did when he cut a swath through the city. No. They seek something else.
Okay.
I don't know what it is, but someone smuggled into Denver an object of great power, stolen from someone, something that shouldn't be here in this world.
Lovely. Well, just to let you know, Albert, since forewarned is forearmed.
Yes, foretellings.
Yes, well, that may foretell you that I have seen Denari in Denver, and they are trying to give coins out. And I look out at the snow, I'm like, and the winter court is very, very active right now. And they're asking questions of people like us. So you may get a visitor.
I'm sure I will. I will tell you one last thing for free. This storm, not the winter court's doing.
Seriously.
Seriously. Someone or something else.
I owe you one, Albert.
Fair enough. Fair enough. Perhaps you'll be willing to come in and do a Twitch stream.
Sure.
Excellent.
Got to keep the brand. I can
Absolutely.
advertise my shop, right?
Yes. Synergy. Yes. Cross-platforming. Absolutely.
And she just laughs and goes, "Man, you are just so much fun, Albert."
Yes, I am. So I'm going to cut from there back to Norel.
I'm going to go and see YOLO. Because I don't have a mobile or nothing, I'll just go to his apartment.
Okay.
Hoping he's there.
YOLO, you have. Does it seem fair that you've installed Miranda by this point?
Yeah, this will be the afternoon, I'm thinking.
Yeah, I think that it's likely I would be back at my apartment thinking about what to do next.
And you'll probably hear that there's probably a buzzer for your apartment.
Going.
Yeah, exactly. Coming out, and you'll recognize that as a telltale sign of Norel pushing the button.
In fact, my smartphone has that for Norel. That is her. And so invite her in to what is a very nice apartment. It's clearly more than YOLO should be able to afford. With very nice big sitting room, big windows overlooking the city towards the mountains, very nice furniture, and a couple of rooms, kitchen, diner. It's very swish, I think, compared to a packing crate.
Yes.
All right, darling, it's good to see you. She gives you a kiss on each cheek. You survived the night. You look all right.
Yes. In the end, it was quite exciting, wasn't it? What did you make of it all?
I wanted to talk to you about that. There was someone of power that you were a lot closer to. And I thought, do you know that person, or do you know anything about them? I didn't get a good look. I was kind of running away.
Now, my recollection is that Nathander spilled during our moments of intimacy that she knew about Rory, so he knows about Rory, so YOLO knows about Rory. Mm-hmm. What I can't remember is if Nathander knew that was a Denarian.
Yes, I think that was established. Yes.
Okay. So I think YOLO will play a straight bat. I think you play a straight bat, and he'll say, "Well, Nathander thinks that was a Denarian. What do you make of that?"
She'll gasp and, surely you can't be serious.
I have never been more serious in my life, other than when I've had a really bad gig.
Bloody hell. Shit. She'll stomp her feet. Shit. Bloody hell.
And double shit.
He didn't hurt you? He didn't scar you in any way or anything? You're okay?
Oh, me? No, I'm light on my feet. But I assume that the burning car I passed on my way away from the club was down to you?
It is a bit of a blur. I'm not too sure what happened, but I think it was a Prius, so, it's no loss. It's not a good British
battery
car.
Malfunction.
Yes. They're very unreliable. They're not like a good old Morris Minor.
So, what are we going to do? Because I just don't think it's fair. I just don't think it's fair that this tall, dark stranger comes into town and starts having a go at mortals.
Well, if the Winter Court are in town, which, you know, that's what the weather's telling me. Maybe we could get them to deal with him in some way. But I'm also going to call the wardens, because the wardens, well, yeah, it's their call.
Well, strangely, I was going to ask you if you could call the wardens, because, you know, that's their kind of the superhero thing. That's all theirs, isn't it? You know.
Yeah, I'm much happy to defer to them with that sort of thing. Shit. Okay. All right, I'm going to make some calls. I'll find a landline. I won't
But just
touch your phone.
Before you go,
okay,
what do you make of Dr. M, our Karen?
Well, I mean, she works hard. She's intelligent. She's kind of cute, I guess. You want me to put in a good word for you, that sort of thing, or?
No, but did you see what she did in the club?
Was she dancing or something? I didn't see.
Well, maybe because I was on the stage, I could see it. But you know, when all hell broke loose and there were people stampeding everywhere, you know where she sent them, don't you?
Toilet?
Yeah, it's called a dead end. There was no way out down there. Does that seem to you like a kind of decent thing to do? I mean, I've done a lot of things for a laugh in the past, but come on.
So, Eola, your phone is buzzing.
Is it going da 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 da
da? Buzz of text messages is what it is.
So, what does this text message say?
And what does it say, Karen?
Yeah. So, and I do think that you probably have like a stinger ringtone for text messages from me. Like you still have something that's specific.
Yeah.
Maybe it's just dun bum ba.
So what does this text message say?
You've gotten two from me during this conversation. One says, "I'm in over my head. Have you seen Narelle?" And after you haven't responded for a couple of minutes, yet also Miranda isn't answering her phone.
Right. Okay. Well, we'll take that on advisement. Don't worry, it's nothing.
Okay. Well, look, I'm going to make some calls. I'll leave you to it. Yeah. Thanks for letting me know. Stay safe.
But no, come on. I want to know, what do you make of Dr. Karen? I think she's a bit of a dark horse.
Well, she's a vampire. I mean, what do you expect?
Yeah, but she's one of those kind of, you know, white vampires. You know, it's not like she's slaughtering people around in darkened streets, is it? But she was behaving like the slaughtering cattle on the streets last night, I thought.
Was she? I don't know what was going through her head. Maybe she'd forgotten. She doesn't own the place and have it, you know, memorized. I'm not sure. I can't say. I guess you could ask her and see her reaction.
Okay. Yeah, no, I will do. So where are you off now then?
I'm going to make some phone calls. I'm going to go to a payphone and call the wardens, let them know about the Denarian. I'm not going to I'll mention the fate, but I'll say I'm dealing with that. I don't want to be too pleading to them, because they'll come in and start telling everybody what to do and they can piss off. It's my town. Sorry, our town. But I'll let them know about the Denarian.
I'll bear that in mind, Narelle. Good luck on the phone.
Right. Yeah. Thank you. She'll give you a hug and then go.
Let's do Narelle sort of hit the streets. Then let me come back to Iolo, and then we'll swing and check in with Dr. Karen. Here's the thing. Finding a payphone these days is incredibly difficult.
Is there a diner or something?
You probably to be able to do this, you probably have to go and find like a convenience place or a gas
there might be one
station.
on campus, on the university campus. There might be one, because
you could go and use one of the inner campus phones and dial out. Yeah, okay.
Yep, do that and call the specific warden number to say, you know.
Let's have you roll with your faction.
So has that come up anyway? Where's that gone? I'm not sure if I'm using this right. Oh, okay. So 1 and 5. 6. Sweet.
And what is your faction?
Power, I guess.
So, oh yeah, that is 0.
6. Sweet.
So you will call the number that you have for the warden. Yep. And again, stressing that the Wizard Society right now is kind of scattershot and so on.
Yep.
And you're like, okay, this is an emergency. I will call.
There's a Denarin in town.
And you will call that number, and you will get the number that you have dialed has been disconnected.
Fantastic. I'll try one more time, and then
it will give you the same result.
Right. Okay. All right. Well, it's my town. I'll look after it, I guess. All right.
There are probably a couple of other like resource numbers that you have from here, and you call, and you will get that across the board.
That's not good. Yeah. That's not coincidence. Damn it. Just because I'm a little bit paranoid from surviving the war, I'm going to go back to my sanctum, make sure everything's fine, expecting it not to be.
Okay, fair enough. And you already have power marks, so you don't do that. Let me check in with YOLO before I check with Dr. Karen.
I texted Dr. Karen to say, I think some of the city suburbs have had a bit of a cell problem. That's why I went out to check on the Griffiths this morning. They're all fine. Which is not technically a lie, but I am conscious that when I was seeking to convince Miranda to come with me, I did tell her an outright lie.
Yes,
so
you did.
I'm just marking 2 more corruption in hindsight. But then I want to hit the streets because Narelle can't be the only wizard in town. And I want to track one down. Because what I really want to do is to bar that apartment I put Miranda in to White Court vampires.
Interesting. So, okay. Yeah, let's have you hit the streets with power.
And well, Miranda is a White Court virgin.
Yes, cross-threshold stuff is what I had in mind. So hit the streets, roll plus, what have I got with them?
+1.
+1. Oh, well. Let's see if I can get into anywhere above 6. 8. Well, there's a change. So on a 7 to 9, choose one. Whoever you're going to is juggling their own problems.
Or more
whatever I think that I am prepared to play. Shall we call him Jonas?
Okay.
I am prepared to go to push the boat out in terms of getting Jonas to agree to come with me to ward this apartment.
Jonas lives in a very sketchy part of town, like super sketchy. And he's a maybe early 30s of Korean descent. And when you arrive, roll up on the doorstep, there are people sleeping on the couches in the place. There are the smells of like kind of just masses of people like clearly crash here, and so on. And you also kind of smell ghosts around, that sort of scent that sometimes lingers in the air. And this wizard, he's got a knit cap like perpetually on, and bags under his eyes. One of them is like got that sort of black of a bruise that you get when like that almost looks like a hit with a baseball bat. Kind of has that perpetually. and he's like, YOLO, what is it that you need, man?
I need a bit of help, my friend. I need you to just help protect somebody from me, for me. I just need you to come back, come with me now, and I need you to just ward an apartment so a white coat vampire couldn't get in or out.
Oh,
should be easy for you.
Oh, yeah. Well, you know, one of the things is you're talking about a ritual.
Am I?
Yeah.
I thought you just waved a magic wand and it all just happened.
That is a severe misapprehension about the nature of magic.
Okay, well, unapprehend me then. What do you need to do?
So I will need to get some materials to be able to do this thing for you, man.
Materials?
Yeah.
There is a door. Just ward it. I've seen it done on television. Come on.
Now you're just defending me. Now you're just really cutting me to the quick. Look, do you want this done? If you want it done right, I got to get materials together to be able to do it. And we're talking probably about $7,500.
Well, now that's a lot of money. That's a lot of money.
Yeah, it is, isn't it? That's why it's so tough being a wizard, because everything costs so much, especially here in Denver. Inflation, you know.
Inflation on wizarding materials. Right. Okay. I'll bear that in mind when I next come looking for a wizard. Okay. No, it's a deal. I can find you that money. But I need it done quickly.
Well, then go quickly get the money, and we'll get this all set.
All right then. Fine. I'll go and get the money. Meet me at my apartment tonight.
Absolutely. Where's your apartment?
I give him my address and my number.
All right.
So the number is worthless to him.
Yeah. He goes, tell you, I'll get started. You know, I'll get things together. And I'll take the bus on over, and you know, get over in that area. Unless I can borrow somebody's bike, and then I'll just bike on over.
Thank you for that, Jonas. I appreciate your cooperation.
I appreciate your money.
Fine, I'll see you later.
Okay. And let's then check in with Dr. Karen.
Okay.
A little nervous
Blake,
here.
you said that Narelle had gone back to her house, right?
Yes.
Okay. When you get there, standing out in the cold with, you know, not as warm a coat as she probably should have brought because she figured that you were home and just not answering your phone, is Dr. Karen. She's looking a little upset that she's been waiting this long.
In this sea of shipping containers that are set up here as apartments.
Oh, you shouldn't be outside, darling. Come in.
Thank you. You know, you can be hard to track down. Do you have any suggestions? If say something comes up, it's an emergency, I need to get in touch with you. How do I do that?
Come and find me. I've got a home phone. It sometimes works, but yeah.
Okay.
I can leave a message in my pigeonhole at work.
Well, thank you for inviting me in.
Smirk and let you in. It's
Okay.
Just make sure my my house is fine.
Looks clear. Probably on your very old, probably cassette-based answering machine. You know, you can see the blinking light of messages there. You know, and turn on the little electric heater for the house there. Get it warmed up.
I'd probably have a gas stove, I think.
Okay.
More reliable for me.
Okay. Oh, that's right. Yeah. So yeah, and what is probably the thing that Nathanda, not Nathanda, Dr. Karen will notice here that is not geology based?
Is that a question to me, or
this is actually a question for Norel.
Oh, okay.
Sorry, unspecific.
I think there's like a MC Escher picture on the wall, and it's like stairs and stuff. But if you look in the steps of each stairs, there's like another picture inside that, so you can actually feel like you're falling into it, and you can use that to help meditate and just clear out everything else. And
embrace the vertigo. Okay.
Yep.
So, Dr. Karen, what are you telling / asking Norel?
Yeah. Say, last night, I might not have. I wouldn't say that I lied to you, but I might not have been entirely forthcoming.
Tea.
And I could use your help. I think the entire city could use your help. That figure, in case you hadn't figured this out yourself, he was a denarian.
Oh, gasp! Really? Ah.
Not just any denarian. It was Charybdis. Is that correct?
Yeah.
Yeah.
God,
that was Charybdis. And
do I know about this guy, or have I read about him? Or?
Oh, put a face to a name. That's a faction move. So go ahead and roll with
hang on,
Wild.
Clear this. 2.
You want just as far as XP goes for Norel, you want to count this as a interaction with Knight before he's rolling with Wild?
Yeah. I'll be generous and say, yeah, let's do that.
Oh, that makes it an 8 then.
Okay. So yeah, you heard of Charybdis. You arrived like I think we said like 4 or 5 years ago, right? Something like that, or was it a little bit longer?
No, I've been here about 20 years.
Yeah. So you were probably around the last time that Charybdis came through, 2008, 2009, and his thing is creating a wash of problems, passing things around and making people freak out and go wrong. And there was a rash of suicides at that time. And why is it that you did not cross his path?
I was probably in the next state doing some geology work somewhere further else in the sort of the Rockies, and I came back to town and was like, "What the hell's happened?"
Yeah, there was a definite purging that had gone on amongst various occult figures and things like that.
Great. All right. Well, I'll tell Dr. Karen all of that. Give him some background. Also, I just marked all 4 factions. Do I have to do something with that?
You will get an advance.
Oh. Okay. I was going to say 3 new spells, but how does that work? Do I just wake up and ding, they're there, or?
I think you've probably been working on them. Yeah,
just you go to, you're like, I better arm myself for this situation.
I've already been studying them, and they just sort of gel in my head at some point when it makes sense.
Yeah.
And then I clear off the marking.
Yep.
Yep. Okay. All right. So yeah, I'll tell Dr. Karen what happened last time he was in town. I say I tried to call the wardens, but none of the phones would get through, which I don't think is a coincidence, and I don't think it's just me being a wizard either. I think someone's doing something funny to cut off the town, which is not good news.
That sounds quite plausible. I would say, just based on my own observations, Charybdis is running Denver like a citywide game of hot potato.
That's just fantastic.
I might have some insight. Well, had you picked up your phone when I first started calling you, I could more definitively say where the coin might be that he's been trying to spread around. But at this point, a couple of hours have gone by. I'm not as sure. But if we want a place to start.
Where do you think it might be?
The last bead that I had on it, it was under the control of House Scavis, but I don't think they intended to hold on to it.
I don't mind telling you, darling, I hate those bastards. They're such...
They're downers.
They're bloody parasites. All right, damn it. Not good. Do you think they're trying to pull the Denarian strings or the other way around?
The impression I have is the other way around.
Damn it.
I'm still trying to determine why my patient was an initial target. I haven't had time to follow up on that yet, but that's my next step. But if there's anything that I can be doing to help try to make things right and protect this city, I think that we all have a vested interest in mortality having a place here.
And getting this Denarian bastard out of town, yes, that would be good. All right, I'll see what I can do, and I'll certainly keep you in mind. Thank you for letting me know. And one idea I had was if we can get the Fae to get rid of him, and then maybe they can cancel each other out, and we can all go back to the bar. But we shall see. All right, we'll keep in touch.
And Karen, as you go out, I think we're starting to see that little flakes of snow are starting to get heavier. That wind is kind of picking up. The clouds are more darkly ominous over the city as we take our 5-minute break, and then we'll come back. So one of the things I'm looking at, Alan, is trying to figure out how we can get you in a position where you can use your scale of justice there.
Yeah, I mean, I did think about swapping the move out, but
Yeah.
I have hopes.
Okay, and if by the end of the session we're not able to do that, then let's look at potentially swapping it.
Yeah, fine.
One of the things is I think that I love Urban Shadows, but there are some play elements that are like the debt moves that are a little more challenging to get to the table, and that unfortunately then has some cascade effects on other moves.
Yeah, no, I get that. But I have to say that the working it seems to work pretty well for Dresden. It seems that the spirit of the thing seems to work.
Yeah, definitely. I'm digging this because it actually gives, I don't want to say a more heroic frame, but there are actually, good people, ostensibly good people in the setting that sometimes with Urban Shadows isn't necessarily the case.
No, because it's clearly got its roots in World of Darkness, isn't it? Where everyone's a bastard somehow.
Yes.
Usually.
Yeah, when I ran this last time for the online group, they were all terrible people, like very terrible, which was amusing because they were all terrible to one another in the course of it.
I heard the one with Salome and
yes,
and that, and oh, geez.
they were all even Fraser, who I thought had the character who maybe was potentially the most, oh yeah, no, he was terrible. Well, I'm going to rob this bank, and we're gonna steal these things from this grandmother.
So one thing I wanted to throw out there as a potential retcon to this last scene.
Sure,
it's cool with Lowell. Does Narelle have a tracking spell amongst her capabilities? Yep. Would it have been possible in my interaction with Wilhelm to have snatched a small personal object while I was there to pass off to Narelle so that she has a way to track him?
It is quite feasible. She would know I have the spell because we have talked about the war and avoiding that happening again. And I would have mentioned I used tracking several times to see who was where. So yeah, it's feasible for my headcanon sort of thing.
I am willing to let you retcon that, Dr. Karen, but with a roll.
Okay.
I think that is keep your cool.
Okay, cool.
To do that to Wilhelm without being noticed.
Oh, and spirit's not great for me. Let's see here. My dice 2. Oh, that's an 8. Oh, wait, sorry, that's a 7 because I have a -1 on the spirit.
So you do pluck like a hair or something like that. It as casual as you can be. But as you kind of turn around, you see Wilhelm's assistant has come in and has some folders. and you're pretty sure that she saw the gesture.
Maybe a cufflink.
Cufflink's probably a little bit noticeable. He would notice that being missing, but hair or some sort of fiber, something like that, or even the cigarette butt.
Oh, I like that. Since we had established, he feels like a clove smoker to me.
Oh yeah, the darkest of cloves. And yeah, so you snatched that, and his assistant saw it. Doesn't say anything. You're not sure what her take on it is. Does that seem like a fair trade cost?
Yeah.
Okay.
That's fair. And I think that's my major gesture of goodwill to Narelle. I say, this is the last place that I'm aware the coin was. And here's a way that, provided it hasn't already moved on, you might be able to figure out where it's going next.
Here's a way you can track the leader of the House Scavis, which obviously you wish to do. Yeah, right?
Yeah.
Excellent.
As far as debts go, do you owe me? Have I cleared something that I owe you?
I go to you when I need help, sort of thing. So, yeah, I would say so, because you've... Oh, well, hang on. No, because this is like you were helping me a second time.
But I owe you because I
sent you students.
Yeah.
So clear that one.
Yeah.
Okay.
And that cashing in a debt then is vice versa. So Narelle may mark Knight, and Dr. Karen may mark Power.
While we're just checking up on stuff, I think my text to Dr. Karen was technically true, so I'm not going to mark corruption for saying that they're all fine.
Right. Yeah, I think you marked the corruption for lying to... Yeah. So what I want to do is, so we're post break. I've been doing the once arounds. I'm fine sort of continuing that process, but if when we can frame up a meetup at any point if people want to do that. This is my usual flow structure with Urban Shadows, is to let people kind of drive where they want things to go until I can hit you with a hammer. So that's my usual process. But if anybody's like, oh, I really want this scene, just say.
Yeah, I'd like to invite Nathanda to my apartment. And we both have phones and they work.
Yep, that's perfect, because Nathanda was just getting ready to text you about her visit from Gabriel.
Yeah, so you get that call, Nathanda. Do you go on over there?
Yeah, I head on over. Coming in, I'm like, wow, this is nice. I'm kind of embarrassed about my place now, YOLO. Wow.
He's got a bar in the basement. There you go.
No, well, Gissy, I mean, your place is real character. This is just a little bit, sterile.
Character. Come on. It's just grunge. But okay. I appreciate you being a gentleman about it.
But I was hoping that we could kind of just discuss how we think we can get a handle on this Denarian.
Well, that's exactly where I want to go. So just to bring you up to speed about the interesting things that have been happening in my life, and I look at, I pull out my phone and kind of read the time on the cracked screen. In the last 6 hours, had a visit from Gabriel over at Bunny's when I was waiting to meet Narelle for lunch. Gabriel is very interested in what's going on and the Denarian. And when I He owes me a favor because I'm just going to be upfront and honest here. I pretty much told him without naming anyone else's names that was present last night what happened at the ice
Oh,
house.
shit, Nathander.
I
You didn't
did
let it
give
all
names
go.
He owes me a favor. That's a
Yeah.
contract that I can call in. The other thing that I thought was even more interesting is I was talking with a colleague trying to get the down low on what they've been hearing in town. This storm, and I look out that beautiful expansive windows where now we're seeing heavier snow and it's just going sideways because of the wind. Not the winter court. Some outsider. So we've got multiple people that want whatever Rory had that triggered their powers. Winter Court's not responsible for this. I think someone's trying to pin it on them. So there's some sort of power moves going on that are really big right now.
Well, first of all, you cannot believe a word the Winter Court says. They're almost as twisted as those bloody summer ones.
Oh, that didn't come from the Winter Court. That came from one of my oracular brethren.
And you trust their judgment?
Yeah. We don't lie to each other about the big stuff. Just the little things.
On the basis that we're being straight with one another, I need you to know that I've hidden Dr. Karen's true love in the apartment downstairs.
You've hidden her true love from her? Or
yes.
From...
Well, put it this way. She's safe. Absolutely safe.
Okay.
And I'm going to make sure she stays safe tonight. So I just thought you should know that, because I don't trust her at all, and I want a bit of leverage.
Well, I understand the distrust of Dr. Karen. I mean, she's got hungers that she has to satisfy, and sometimes the way in which that's accomplished is not to anyone's benefit but hers, and she can be tricky to be around, but she's not bad all the way through.
Are you
she
certain
has
about
helped
that?
me. No one's bad all the way through, except for maybe that Denari. Oh, and maybe, what's the guy who's in charge of the Scavin? Willie, whatever.
Yeah.
He's probably bad all the way through. I mean, I'm sure he doesn't think he is, but.
Yeah, Big Willie is a problem, I suppose. But, well, now, on that basis, then, there is something else that's been nagging away at the back of my mind. I got a text from Dr. Karen saying that she couldn't get in touch with Miranda, blah, 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 blah. But then on the end, it said, I'm in too deep, I think. I hadn't really given that much thought until now.
Oh, that doesn't sound good. I mean, she was there last night. I think maybe we should get in touch. Have you messaged her back?
Oh, yes, a very reassuring one. But as I say, I didn't really think about the in too deep bit. I mean, given that I've kidnapped her true love, I think you should text her.
Fair enough. So,
that seems
shall we
fairer.
see if we can get together for dinner this evening? Maybe you want to try ringing up the Wiz for us?
Well, I can try. You might as well send a bloody homing pigeon.
I've got Norell's home number. I mean, that landline usually works.
Okay, you do the rounding up. I'll make reservations.
Okay. So I'm going to text Dr. M and say, really like to get the gang together tonight to revisit the events at the ice house and figure out our way forward for the best of the city and ourselves.
I text back, that's a fantastic idea. You can all meet at my place.
YOLO, she wants to meet at her place. Are you cool with that? I mean, I'm willing to risk it.
I've already made reservations for about 8:30.
I messaged back. We already have reservations at. Where'd you make reservations at, YOLO?
Well, you recommended somewhere, didn't you? Wasn't it something, some animal or other?
The wild boar.
Yeah, well, you reckon it's good, don't you?
Yeah, that's like charcuterie, artisanal meats and cheeses. So I messaged back to Karen. YOLO had already made reservations. Somehow got us into the butcher and the boar, we'll call it. Would that be okay? And then maybe we could retire to your place afterwards for private discussions. 8:30.
I text back. Are you sure it's secure?
I'll message back. Secure enough for a dinner and neutral territory to keep everyone as comfortable as they can be.
That's fair. See you at 8:30.
And then I'll try ringing up Narelle, who hopefully is home. Otherwise, I'm going to have to go over to campus.
Let's assume home.
Yep, that's fine. And we'll say the second call gets through. And I'm like, yep, that's fine. Excellent. I'll go now because the weather's probably going to get worse. And yeah.
All right. Okay, and just so you know, Narelle, Dr. M was hoping that we might go back to her place afterwards for discussions that might need to be had in private. I didn't commit to that yet, but just wanted you to be aware that that was an ask that was out there.
I understand you have some reservations about her, but she doesn't frighten me.
She's my therapist, but there's the professional setting and then there's the lair, if you will.
Yeah.
And just want everyone to be aware of what we're doing.
Well, if we go there, I've got your back. I'll look after you, darling. It'll be fine.
I appreciate the offer.
I'll see you soon.
Ta.
All right. I'm thinking I step outside and the cold hits my face, and it reminds me of when I was in college and there was a big storm, and that's when the 3 spells gel in my head.
Okay.
It's like, right, ding, powered up.
And you see Gabriel's there.
All thoughts leave my mind. Hi.
Narelle, how are you? It's been a while.
Too long, to be honest.
Too long.
I was headed into town.
Walking?
Yeah, until I can grab a cab. Yeah.
Yeah. How about you let me walk with you?
That would be lovely. And yeah, keeps looking at his face a lot, smiling, can't help herself.
She says, I got a question for you.
Okay.
Just a little one, You know a fae named YOLO?
Do I? Sorry, is that a put a face to a name thing?
No, that's
I should
YOLO.
hope you do.
Sorry.
He's
asking about YOLO, who you spoke with just a while ago.
Yes, I've met him a few times. Fae, but kind of different to some of you.
Yeah, there's all kinds of things. It's a whole class, nationality. There's lots of axes that works on.
Okay.
So.
Yeah,
does YOLO owe you at all?
Does he?
I saw on YOLO's one that YOLO looks like YOLO does owe you a debt.
Yeah, but I gave away the secret as well. So
Yeah.
yeah, but basically I'm keeping the portal to his homeland secret. So yes.
He says, look, I might need something from YOLO in the future. And I know you owe me. So maybe we call ourselves even on a little bit of that, and you hand me that debt that YOLO owes you. And essentially, he is trying to cash in a debt on you to have you give him a debt that you hold on YOLO. You know, the thing I like most about Denver is that, like, we've got all these little coffee shops around, and none of them like burn the coffee like Starbucks does. It's not that sort of toasting and dark roast everything. You can sometimes get a nice light roast that's smooth, has a little bit of finish to it. I like Denver. So what do you think?
She'll try and sort of put her arm in his and hold his hand as they're walking, and say, "Yeah, that sounds fine."
Great. That's super. And he'll walk with you for a while, and he'll say, "So what have you been up to?"
I've been trying to find you. I was wondering if you know sort of why all the Winter Fae are in town and who that. Well, now I know it's a Denarian was in town. I didn't know if you know anything about it, or I just wanted to see you again.
Well, I do know something about it. I did talk to Nathanda.
Oh,
Spoke with her earlier today.
you were nice. She's like my little sister. I try and look after her. She's got a heart of gold.
She's not really not my type. Not mature enough.
Oh, that's nice to know.
Look. If you need to get a hold of me, let me give you my number.
Okay.
I'll write it down since I know you don't have a cell.
I've got a little address book, so
yeah.
Hand him that.
And he leans in close so that he can kind of help you write it. And he smells so good. Like there's that smell, not exactly perfume, not exactly cologne, but just the smell off of him is just entrancing. And he says, "Well, there you go."
Well, yeah, I did again wanted to thank you for, helping me that time, and she'll give him a hug.
And he holds it for the week.
Holds his hands afterwards and look at him. Thank you.
We should spend some more time together. We should do that.
That would be nice. Is that a moment of intimacy? Does that count? Or
ooh, interesting. Let me look here. Yeah, let's do that because he's playing you. But let's see.
I mean, I know that, but Narelle doesn't.
Right. Do you care about them?
Yes, she does.
Okay. If you do, they take -1 ongoing to escape until they get intimacy from somewhere else. In the sense that you see does that hug, and maybe there's a little bit of a flinch as he kind of realizes he's probably never done this to a mage before, but he can feel the tangle of threads of fate, and he pulls away from the hug maybe a little bit faster. Doesn't say anything, like he doesn't grimace, but the audience at home can tell that he's maybe having a slight regret about having played you like this, because it has come back to bite him. He's like, yeah, you give me a call, okay?
Oh, okay, I will. And she means it.
And he will Here's a taxi stand. I've got to go. And he will take off.
Okay. I know. Yeah. Grab a taxi.
Okay. Dr. Karen, what are you doing before the meeting?
Oh, this is a dick power move.
Please.
I'm calling up one of my teaching assistants. His name is Burl, and I'm inviting him to join us for dinners. Just kind of it's networking.
Oh, that'd be great, Dr. Karen. Super. Yeah.
Because I want to make sure that the things that need to stay private aren't discussed at this meal.
Yeah, I really need networking.
Well, no, I don't tell him that.
Yeah, I really need networking. Yeah, I was down at career placement, and they said I need to get some more things in my resume.
Yeah, and honestly, it's going to be about expanding horizons more than anything else.
Okay.
But these are just interesting people within the city. I don't believe that you've audited any of the geology courses, but
geology.
But a good friend of mine, Professor Neural, should be there, and really, it's just making sure that you're new to the city. You should know people.
He actually gulps when you say Professor Neural. He's like, "Oh yeah, I know who she is."
Excellent.
All right, yeah, you can make the arrangements on that. Now, my general assumption with Urban Shadows, with your web, especially with the short run game, is that anybody that you have that owes you debts is considered in your web for those purposes.
Oh, okay. That gives me a pretty wide web.
Yeah. So and we should have done this to start a session. When choose someone in your web and learn a secret about them that they'd rather keep buried.
Mm-hmm.
Do you want to know that about?
Yeah. I want to know something about Nathanda. And I think that is probably one of the more likely, seeing that there's probably a lot of things that Nathanda has already spilled, possibly under hypnosis, if we want to get to stuff that she would have been trying to keep buried.
So Nathanda, what's a secret you'd rather Dr. Karen not know?
I basically have a warrant out for my arrest by the warden of Chicago. And I not only chose to move to Denver when the law changed, but kind of had to go somewhere because it wasn't safe to stick around in Denver.
Nice. Does that seem fair to you, Dr. Karen?
Yeah, that's fair, and something that I'm able to empathize with. Like, I don't think that I spell out exactly what happened in Toronto, but at a higher level, I talk about Jungian archetypes and the self that we present to the outside world and the true self.
Perfect. Let me do one last thing, and then let's do that dinner scene. Does that seem fair? The one last scene being your friend Jonas showing up, a little out of breath. He rode one of these Lime bikes over. You have the sense that he broke the box on it to be able to ride it without having to pay. And he's dumped it out front, buzzes with that crackling buzz of the mage.
Invite him up and shake him by the hand.
Oh man, this is kind of luxe.
I'd like to use Bedlam on him.
Interesting.
Which will allow me to place a specific emotional condition on him, which is incredible naivety.
Okay. Yeah, mark corruption.
That pushes me over the edge with an overflow of 1.
Okay. Well, we'll come back to your corruption move in a second. Yeah, so he's like, and you got my money, right?
Well, it's on its way.
Well, that's fine. Absolutely. I'm not worried about that. I know you're good for it.
I thought you wouldn't mind.
Okay.
It does occur to me I've just told him a direct lie.
I was going to say that too.
What goes around comes around. Okay, we'll come back to that in a moment.
So where's this place, man?
Downstairs. Come with me. And
Okay.
I get him to ward the door to Miranda's apartment.
Okay. He's like, one way or two way?
Both ways.
To two way. Okay. Yeah. Well, I'm gonna have to. Is anybody in there right now?
Yeah.
Okay. And he's gonna have to have the door open so that he can do that.
Okay. Well, I'll go in and talk to Miranda. And this is a nice apartment like mine, I assume.
Yeah.
And so we go through the kitchen and I make coffee.
Okay. So keeping her out of Jonas's eyesight. Okay.
Yes.
And you will see Jonas kind of waits, and you see him pull something out of his pocket, and he drops it on the floor, and you will see this like swarm of cockroaches start to kind of run and leave like almost like a sticky trail around the outside of the door frame. And you can see him, he's muttering like this is clearly part of his ritual components to do this. Yeah. So he will get that set, and then he bends down and kind of opens up his sleeve, and the cockroaches run back up into it. He kind of shakes it like that. Okay, Mr. Iolo, I'm all done, man.
And I'll see him out, and then tell Miranda that I just wanted the door security checked because you can't be too careful in the city.
What kind of? I mean, is that doesn't seem normal?
Oh, it's entirely normal here. I think I'm trying to persuade her.
Okay.
I've had such luck with her and that.
Absolutely. Let's go ahead and have you roll with heart.
Yep. Now we're getting somewhere.
Yeah.
Oops, a daisy. So that's 9, 10. Hurrah!
Yeah, she's like, oh, okay. She buys it. She understands that you understand the magical world that maybe she doesn't, and gets a sense of that. And so this must be, as you say, normal.
Yeah.
Which I don't think is a direct lie. In the areas that you run in, and she said, okay, is Dr. Karen going to come by later?
I don't think she's coming by tonight necessarily, but I'm sure she'll be by in the next couple of days.
Okay.
It's just she's really busy. Oh no, I must be careful. She's got a lot on her plate.
Oh, okay. Thank you for taking such good care of me.
Oh, it's a pleasure, Miranda.
Yeah, you will head out. So I imagine that this place that you've chosen, Nathanda, is still sort of hipsterish steak place.
Yeah, it is, but it's very high end. Like the clientele is not your typical hipster clientele. It's word's gotten out. The upper echelon, it's probably emptier than usual tonight because of the storm.
Yeah, it means you're able to get in there. Yeah, and this is a place where everything here is bespoke and handmade, and they've got somebody to do special, unique glasses, and the tables are all recovered wood and that kind of thing. And the four of you will arrive, and yeah, YOLO should pick a corruption move.
Yes, I'm thinking of was it gone? Unearthly Grace, +1 heart, max 4 whenever you roll with heart, but on a roll of 12 plus, I mark corruption.
Yes, that seems good. So who arrives first?
Not me.
Nathanda can arrive first.
Okay.
And I'd like to use one of my 2 holds from the foretellings.
Okay.
And something terrible is about to happen during our dinner.
Okay.
Oh gosh, I have a fantastic idea of something that could be terrible.
Yeah.
Already.
Well, and you don't have to describe it, but you know that you have the feeling, that foreboding, and you get yourself prepared. So you have +1 ongoing for any moves that you're going to do. And your allies do as well, in case bad things happen here. And Dr. Karen arrives, and she has this gangly grad student with her, who has kind of a crooked tie and a jacket on, and the 2 of them come over.
I have a big smile, and I wave and take a chair from another table. I'm like, sorry, we already had arrangements. I'm sure it's not a problem.
Who's your little friend?
This is Nathanda. Nathanda just has some remarkable perspective on just about everything.
And Nathanda gives you a look and just makes her eyes go real wide and kind of like a what the.
Well, Burl's relatively new to the city. I thought that it would be valuable for him to meet people that are important to me. You don't.
And Nathanda's in a strappy kind of revealing dress, and she's covered with tattoos and everything, and she's got the multicolored hair, and she just holds out her hand to him to see what he'll do.
He shakes your hand, and he looks like super nervous.
One thing that's not quite active yet, but it is a direction that I'm pushing in with this scene. I deliberately picked out Burl because I knew that this would be an uncomfortable environment for him, which is going to spark some of his social anxiety, so that I can get a little bit of a nibble while we all eat.
So I look at Dr. M, and I'm like, you looked peckish tonight.
Oh, I'm starving. This place is supposed to be great, though.
Oh, it's top notch. I don't know how well, maybe there were some cancellations, and that's how YOLO got us in. But yeah, it's going to be a great experience. You're in for a real treat, Burl.
Oh, great. See, in his mind, he's like, do I have enough money? Who's paying for this? I don't know. I'm a grad student. What's going on? Maybe they can expect me to pay for this? Is that what's going on here? I don't know. I mean, I could move some money over from my savings.
And when the waiter comes by asking if we want any drinks, I order for Burl and just like the most expensive cocktail they have.
Yeah, like he was about to order water, please. And he gulps, and you see him take out his phone, and he's very clearly moving money around in his account just in case he's like terrified that something's going to go wrong.
I'll come in and shake my jacket and
see a stranger at the table, someone you haven't seen before.
but who clearly seems to recognize who you are.
Like when he sees you, he like stands up fast enough that the chair probably shoots out. And
I steady my cocktail so it doesn't get knocked over.
And you think, Narelle, what's your last name?
I've gone completely blank.
Oh, it should be some kind of stone.
Why not stone?
Yeah, Stone.
Yeah. Dr. Stone.
Brett, isn't it?
Close. The Burl. Yeah.
Bert Burrow. Nice to meet you, Bert Burrow. Karen.
Yeah. I audited one of your lectures one time.
You lectured.
No, you lectured, and I came. So it was like you did an open lecture, and
like an audit.
What?
Right. You audited.
Yeah.
Burl's one of my most promising students. I was just telling him how important it is when you're new in a city that you meet some people that are important. One thing I have to tell you about Dr. Stone.
Yes.
And I'm digging through my debts to see what I can. My practice wouldn't be what it is today without Dr. Stone really keeping an eye out for her students and recognizing when they're in trouble.
Well, it's important to foster good health and a good mind-life balance as you're progressing and educating the young. And I'll tap him on the hands.
And he kind of sits back down and kind of just sitting there watching and waiting and running over his head what he's going to say when somebody asks him a question. Like he's running that over and over and over again. It's getting worse each time in his head. And the cocktail arrives and he goes, Iolo.
Yeah, Iolo will stroll in late as usual, and note Burl and entirely ignore him, and sit down and say, "Well, what are you in deep with then, Karen?"
She throws her head back and laughs. Says, "Yolo, Burl, I wouldn't be the woman that I am today without Yolo." And gosh, I'm trying to think of how much I can talk around what's going on.
Oh, well, don't worry. You'll fill the gap. I feel obliged, Karen. You know I owe you one for reasons that we needn't discuss. But what the fuck's going on?
Well, we're here for dinner.
Oh, come on. We all run from a club pursued by the Winter Fae, and you're talking about having dinner. Yeah, we'll have dinner, but let's talk.
I look at Burl and go, "You should probably leave, hon. The grown-ups have to talk now. Sorry, Dr. M brought you along to this, but time to go." And then I'll just go at him.
So he kind of looks back and forth, Dr. Karen. If you give him the nod, he's going to leave.
Yeah.
I pull out my tarot deck. I lay out the death card in front of him, even though that's not actually a bad card, but most people think it is. Lay out the tower. Lay out the hanged foot. Yeah, I just see nothing but trouble for you, Burl, unless you bail.
Burl, do you know
I think.
Wait, sorry, what?
Yeah, on a mechanical side, I'd like to go ahead and get in my feet off of him. He's probably about as anxious as he's ever going to be.
Oh, I think
in this.
so.
And depending on the outcome of that, I'm probably going to let him go.
Okay. Then let's have you roll that.
Okay. So it's a 6 + 1. So I get choose 2. He doesn't die.
Good call.
Yeah. And I'm going to heal 1 harm.
Okay, that seems fair. And he will stand. Oh, it's really lovely to meet all of you. And he points to the drink. Should I leave some money for that?
No, I've got it, Pearl.
Oh, great. Okay, gotta go.
Yeah.
It's nice meeting you, Bert.
Oh, bye. Bert's fine. And he is gone.
You can't fault me for trying.
What the hell, Karen?
Look, we had an agreement. We are here right now to have dinner, not to have discussions of things that are of a more private nature.
You thought the dinner invitation was real.
I missed what you just said, Alan.
You thought that the dinner invitation was for real. We're having dinner, but we're having dinner because we've got a problem. Problems.
YOLO, are you suggesting that I was lied to?
What I'm saying is that we are having dinner, but there's more to it than that, Karen.
Oh, no. No, I acknowledge that. I made what I felt was a generous invitation to have what matters need to be addressed. Now, we can have dinner, we can establish a framework, but I think that our next steps perhaps should be discussed in a more private environment.
I think YOLO will look at the other two and say, well,
I have to agree with Dr. Karen in this one.
Whatever.
There we are.
Call for the bill.
And the waiter comes over, clearly maybe a little disappointed that it's just a bill for drinks and appetizers at this point. And who's paying?
I thought Karen offered.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'll pay.
All right. We'll take your card and we'll run it through. Of course, he's by a table that Norella's at. So he has to because I need to go take this up. The little thinger isn't working, so I'll be right back with that. And you all will pay. Snow is falling outside. Where are you going to talk more intimately?
Where's nearest?
You're in a nicer part of town, so I think that at that point it is Dr. Karen.
Okay.
That's on you. You picked the place.
So shall we kind of like do a wipe and have them at your place? Have they been here before? Have they seen your little collection of fear boxes that decorates the wall?
I think probably Nathanda has.
Yeah.
Narelle, I'd say that's up to you. I think that you're well aware that coming into my haven is not necessarily the wisest thing to do, but it kind of comes down to how much of a no, hold on. Your debt is that you go to me when you're in trouble. I think you've definitely been here. I think YOLO almost definitely is not.
Yeah. That is a freaky set of decorations, YOLO.
Yeah, and they disturb me. Because
I is there any one of these in particular that disturbs you?
No, simply being somewhere where anyone collects them disturbs me.
And And I think I have a terranium as well.
Okay.
Trying to think of, I haven't actually owned a snake. I know that oftentimes they eat live rats.
Mm-hmm. Mice,
I think that rather than illustrating all of that, we have a snake that has a definite bulge in its body where it's still digesting. And I open up the terranium just to give it a pet. But I'm and look to see if anybody is uncomfortable with it at all. But then close it back up.
Yeah, because Nathanda came right over and stroked him. Oh, so pretty. Because I mean, she's got lots of imagery of like snakes, vines, tentacles, things like that.
Well, everyone, we certainly rushed dinner. Can I get anybody else something to drink? Nightcap, perhaps? And she has a pretty well-stocked liquor cabinet.
I want to get down to business.
I'll take
Bourbon.
a scotch.
Yeah, bourbon, please.
And yeah, she pours both. Hands them to you.
I'll clink glasses with Narelle.
There's that little awkward silence for a bit, and then.
So, as I was saying in the restaurant, what the fuck's going on? Cards on the table time.
I'll play my hand first, since all of you were generous enough to accept my invitation. So we have a denarian coin out amongst the wild. The last place that I am aware that it was in the custody of Wilhelm Scavis of House Scavis. I'm not sure if he still has it. Narelle, I provided something to you. Have you been able to track his movements?
Haven't had time. I could do that now while we're chatting if you like. No objections. All right. I'll just sort of sit down on a chair and start.
But maybe move away from the entertainment center, Narelle. I don't want to get hit by shit.
Oh, I unplugged everything.
Everything.
That's my standard operation when I know Narelle is going to come by.
Okay.
So you should roll your channeling first, I think, here, Narelle.
Yep. What do I roll for that? Where's that?
You roll with spirit.
2. Excellent. Okay. I'm confused which ones are mine. All right, hang on. I might just clear it.
Feel free.
Try that. Okay, so 11 plus 2 is 13.
Yep, perfect. You hold 3, so you can spend one of your hold to learn the location of this person.
Okay. Yep.
And what does that look like? When you do this tracking magic, how to visualize where they're at? What do you think that is?
I've probably got a little map of the city, and I'd have like some sort of crystal pendant that I'll wave around, and I'll probably be chanting in Latin since it's Dresden,
right?
And yeah, sort of naming them, naming my intent, and naming the city 3 times as I'm waving it around in Latin, and yeah.
And I think you will get a visualization of a pool, like a swimming pool.
Okay.
That's kind of dark, and that certainly that smell of chlorine will come to you. And your mind's eye kind of moves around, and you will see that it is a YMCA, like an athletics place. That's kind of maybe lower quality, has that look of kind of being worn, and you can kind of visualize the address on it. This person is clearly there.
Okay. Well, yeah, I'll just relay all of that to them.
How would we know if he still had the coin?
It's a risk to take. I think that if he's going to such a public place, I don't think that he intends to hold on to it much longer. I paid him a visit. He's working under the influence of the Denarians. I have a clear sense of it, and they want it moving.
I will say, Narelle, that you've been able to visualize where this is. You could let it out to extend your senses to there to check and see if the coin is still there.
Yeah, I'll do that.
Okay, so when you let it out, roll with spirit. On a hit, you get to choose a result and mark corruption. So.
Okay, so. 2, 8, 10.
10. So on a 10 plus, you can ignore that corruption, or you can choose another result from that list.
I'll choose another result from that list, I think.
So you extend your senses, and you will see the person who you have the cigarette butt from, and they are there. They have the coin. It is wrapped away, and they are waiting for the arrival of the person that they are going to hand it off to.
Okay. Yeah, I'll tell you. These Scavers still has the coin. They're waiting. They're in a YMCA. Yeah, it's dark, so obviously not. The public aren't there.
If we got the coin, what would we do with it? On the grounds that taking the coin from the Denarian will piss him off, which is what I'm about.
And don't forget that there's other powers at play, and I think this coin is, while it's obviously a powerful and dangerous item, there's something else out there that people are jockeying for that was smuggled into the city, and it's not the Winter Court that's dropping this snowstorm on us, but someone else definitely is. I don't know who or what, but I'm not sure that our whole focus should be on this coin here.
So do you think the blood pact that we've sworn revenge on Denarian for harming Rory is actually the wrong target?
Well, we did see the Denarian harm Rory, but maybe things were engineered in such a way to have the Denarian be present at that point. Possibly a side effect, yet another machination. It feels like big things are going on here. This isn't just happenstance. So still want to fuck with the Denarian, but and maybe following it will get us closer to whoever's trying to. If someone's actually got the balls to try to manipulate a Denarian or use them like that.
It feels to me like time is of the essence. I'm going to go get my things. And she leaves the room for a moment and comes back with her sword strapped to her back.
How far away is the YMCA?
It's probably, it's in a whole nother neighborhood, part of town, kind of, rundown area.
Narelle, do you need to borrow a bike or anything?
It's going to have to be a fat tire bike with this snow. Are the buses even running?
They're probably shutting down the line early tonight.
Scavish are the top dogs in Denver, aren't they? So are we certain that taking the coin from them, are we not just going to bind them and the denarian closer together?
I think that'd be with them anyway. Yeah. I don't think we're going to do anything that hasn't already been done. Now, can I teleport close to there? Because I've got teleport spell now.
So teleport is very much a short distance.
Okay, damn it.
Within the scene, yeah.
Yeah. You have one more from Let It Out.
Could I mind wipe through the channeling?
Oh, so tell me what exactly you want to try and do.
Make the scavers just forget what they're doing. They just sort of, hopefully they'll forget what they're doing and go home.
It's a helpless target, so I don't think he qualifies for that.
Nah, fair enough. Yeah. Well, what I think I'll do is I'll say I can jog and use my elementalism to like lower the effects of the weather around me. To like reduce the wind, reduce the cold, and just have it around me while I'm jogging to the place.
You can also ride in a car for a while. It's not necessarily going to break immediately with you getting into it.
Yep. So
yeah, it's definitely going to wipe out the Bluetooth and
Nathanda is trying to find a lift that's like someone who's got like a Suburban or something that's a big SUV or one of the Lincoln SUVs, the deluxe thing or whatever.
Absolutely. I think that's easy enough for you to do.
Maybe we can make it there. Can you I'll just try to tamp it down?
Yeah, and I'll sit it in the back.
Look, mine will be a lease car. So who cares?
So, as I understand it, the four of you are gearing up and getting ready to head across town to confront at least the leader of the Scavis, but quite possibly the Denarian.
Yeah, what could go wrong?
Absolutely. That is the perfect place for us to stop for tonight.
Can I just say, I call Gabrielle and ask him to meet us there.
Wait, well, you got to find a regular phone or ask one of us to do it, though, Narelle.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Okay, well, I'll say, I just had an idea. Should I call Gabrielle and ask him to meet us there? The chaos it ensues may be a good diversion that we could take advantage of. And he can look after himself.
I will say that Gabriel owes me a favor, but I won't want to cash it in until we were, as you were, boots on the ground with whatever's waiting there.
I think he likes us. He gave me his number.
Yeah, I'm happy for Karen to say, "Oh, happy to. What's his number?"
Here.
And I text and I explain that I'm texting on behalf of Narelle, and give the address and what would be considered just enough information to give a sense of urgency without
take a selfie.
Gabriel's pretty up to speed, if I recall right.
Take a selfie with us all there, except for Narelle has to be
really far in the
back on a chair, maybe, so that you can catch her and you can see the sword hilt on your back. Yeah. And I'm making the what the fuck face and whatever, and just or come party with us. It's going to get interesting.
Absolutely. I think
That's our album cover.
We see you do that. You take that shot. You call them. You get the thing that the lift has arrived downstairs. Get ready. I think the camera cuts to a shot of Gabriel, and we see him kind of looking at the phone, and then we see him typing in another address, and we see him forwarding the address and the picture to someone. That's what we'll take up next time. I want to do yes. I want to do session end, the faction check-ins on that for shifting those around, and then if you don't mind, I'd like to do maybe just a quick stars and wishes to do a check-in with everybody if I could do that. So let's start with Nathanda. Do you think that you want to shift any of your factions? Do you want to shift one up and one down? Do you think that you've had some interactions that rise to that level?
I don't think I'm going to move anything around for Nathanda because a lot of this focus has been around Fae and power. And while Knight, let's see, well, what faction are the vampires? Are they Knights or
They're
Knight.
Power? They are Knight. I think maybe next time we'll see that shift.
Okay, absolutely. And then what about you, Narelle?
Well, we're kind of moving against Knight, so I'm wondering if that should go down. Hang on, and I sort of befriended Gabriel, and he's Fae, and they're what, Wild?
Yep.
Can you go up to 3?
I think you can. It's a little excessive.
All right. Well, we are doing it to preserve mortal lives and that, so maybe put mortality up and Knight down.
Okay. So mortality +2, Knight -2.
Yeah.
YOLO?
The fictional relationship with Winter and Summer means if Gabriel's being involved, I'm going to shift Wild down by 1.
Okay.
And I at least have I've had some interaction with Dr. Karen this session, so I'm going to shift that up to 0.
That makes sense. And Dr. Karen.
Okay, well, I'm kind of backstabbing Wilhelm, so I'm going to shift Knight down.
Okay.
And I'm doing that in partnership with Narelle, so I'm going to shift power up.
Okay. Let me do a quick check through. If anyone thinks that they did someone a favor at a cost that we haven't already resolved a debt thing for, Nathanda, did you do anything at a cost that hasn't already been calculated?
No, I don't think there was anything really like that. I mean, she was, most things, it was feels like a pretty even trade of information. She didn't have any overt feel of being shorted by other people as she talked.
I think that's fair. Narelle?
No, I think it's all been straight up because we've all sort of figured out the depths of poo that we're in.
YOLO?
I'm tempted to say that I've protected Dr. Karen's true love from any scabious retribution, but I think that would be a lie, so I won't.
Yeah, I was going to say. And Dr. Karen?
Yeah, no, I think everything's been very tit for tat this session.
Okay. So we know that next time we'll take up with you arriving on the scene with whatever mess is in place. We will do a start a session thing just to have something that's in the background that might get resolved after that. And we'll do both the oracular and the vampiric start a session moves at that point as well. So I would like to do just briefly stars being things you want to point to in terms of play, characterization, mechanics, anything like that. and go through and everybody do that. And then once we've done one cycle of that, do the wishes for anything that you're like, I want to see more of this. I want to lean into this. I haven't gotten a chance to use this, those kinds of things that you'd like to see. I'm going to do the same order that we just did. Kevin, I'm going to start with you in terms of stars.
Oh, I absolutely love the power move of Dr. M bringing Burl along. And Lowell, I have to say your NPCs today were so good. They were just
good,
spectacular. They felt as soon as you did those voices, I had a visualization and felt like I knew those people right away. It was just super good.
Awesome. I'm glad to hear that. Blake?
The first thing that comes to mind was Nathanda's tarot deck. I thought that's great. That's so her, but still, typical fortune teller sort of thing. So yeah, that was spot on. Just in terms of a good example of White Court vampire and a fae, I think they're both killing it. Really good job.
Yeah, we're definitely getting that feel of what those courts mean and what they're about there in a strong way. Alan?
I think these are going really well. I'm really enjoying myself. I mean, Dr. Karen is cold-eyed. Nathanda is flaky enough, but not too flaky. And Narelle is the kind of reluctant wizard. I sometimes think it's kind of, I have all this power and I just don't want to flash it about, because it could be whiz bang. And like the others, Jonas was just great. I just love Jonas. I want Jonas to come back to other stuff.
Yeah, I like that. I tried to write down everybody's names here, and I'll try and find pictures for everyone before next time. Put those on the images tab of that. And Vince, anything you want to point to? Stars?
Yeah, I want to echo what everyone else has said to give kudos to the NPCs that have been introduced throughout the session. They're all really vivid and, and kind of playing into 7-3-1 theory. Like you get an immediate picture from word one, which is fantastic. I also want to give a shout out to Alan for his manipulation of the chess pieces through this. Like I'm really enjoying how he's playing like genuine concern for the NPCs that have been introduced, or that he sometimes introduces within scenes, and it shows like a care and attention to the detail of the whole setting, which I'm really loving.
Yeah, I want to say last thing on the stars. You guys came out of the gate with these characters like hot last time, and I was like, wow. I mean, like, you knew who they were. We saw that in play, and again, this session, I felt that same way. Like kind of give me chills. How strong, good, and vivid everybody did. Like you've been playing them for a long time. So really excellent for me. Let's go through and do wishes, things that you definitely want to see, things you'd like to lean into, things maybe you want to see more of, even move wise or whatever. So Kevin, anything that you want to mention?
Well, I'm looking forward to seeing some bigger, more overt, right out there in semi-public during the snowstorm power moves by people where, start just kind of unleashing things in front of each other, and there's real confrontations, even though an oracle isn't built for that type of stuff, but whatever, drive it like you stole it.
Yeah, no, I think that's good. We got the storm as a kind of cover. We know that there's the supernatural coming. So yeah, I think that's a good thing to ask for. Awesome. Blake, anything you want to point to? I
did find it a bit of a struggle to get people together in a scene rather than just everyone doing their own solo thing. But I gather that is a kind of recurring issue with Urban Shadows from what I've heard about. But it's got to be genuine with the story, I guess, and not just you're conveniently in the same place sort of thing. But yeah.
Yeah, I think that's fair. And I think now we've kind of got a singular purpose, so we may be able to frame people more tightly together for a little while. And we'll certainly see that next session. But that's a good observation and a good thing to ask for. It is sometimes a thing with Urban Shadows because everybody has their own agendas. But I want to say I appreciate people pulling other people into their scenes. We got a lot of pairings today in different orders, so that was good. But yeah, I will keep that in mind. Alan?
Not really. I am thinking about whether I will stick with Unearthly Grace as the corruption move, or whether I go for the one that gives access to the other fairy magics. I'll toss that one about. But no, I mean, I think it is tricky to get us all in a room without, it feeling really artificial. And I thought the pairings when they occurred were pretty natural, and it was good to have other people lean into those. When there's a hint of let's get together, people have gone with it. So that's more a star than a wish list.
Okay. Yeah, and we'll take a look at that corruption move. We'll take a look at Scales of Justice before we do anything next session, and see what you think on those. Vince, I'm going to give you last word.
Okay. Yeah, I'd say the big wish that I have has to do with like the arc that I'm envisioning for Karen, and I see it as a big struggle between her ideal self and her true self. I think that Karen sees herself as a good person, and getting that challenge to, like, does she accept that she's not, or does she push toward that ideal? As far as something that we might aim for in a final session could be a genuine act of self-sacrifice, which has been very clearly wanting from her so far.
I think it's good to point out that arc and how you're envisioning it. That's nice to have that on the table. I kind of wish that you did that nice little bit at the end of the last session that you sent in the email, and I wish that I had remembered to maybe bring that imagery back in one or more of your scenes today.
Yeah,
that's on me. I should have grabbed onto that. So.
I think we may have an opportunity to, like, I like the Denarian coin as a metaphor for her temptation to her dark side, and I feel like I largely gave it away because I was concerned. I am on Scavis's turf, and I felt like I either could give it away or have it taken away.
No, I think that was fair and a good reaction to some of the things we established. Awesome. Thank you guys very much. We'll play next week. We'll start with that. And remember that we play next week, and then we skip a week, and then then there'll be a week of play. So I'll remind everybody next time. So I'm going to stop the broadcast.
Thank you all for playing.